thing.
Do it. Just do it. Bob, if you're doing it, you know.
Hey, everyone. Dan here. On with John. How you guys doing today?
Everybody.
We're just chatting away here. Anyway, hey, Bill. What's the hold up on X13? I don't know. Probably because they can. Hey, oh my! I was just telling John it's official this week. I have mush brain, so it's just, and then I need a vacation desperately. It's just a year. What's it been? A year and 2 months now. What is it? Yeah, beginning of March. Beginning of March was the last time I went anywhere. I know you've been traveling the world. Yeah, yeah. But no, my family, we've been a cautious family and we haven't done anything. So I'm really looking forward to getting out there again. Get my second shot next Wednesday, and I'll be comfortable to go anywhere. At least I hope. Anyway, that's a park across my street that I'm in today. So let me just, God, I can't remember how to do stuff here. Go to my full screen. See, there's my park, and there's my little doggy. That's Quinn.
Can't see the right direction.
There we go. But yeah, every morning we go through a walk through the park here. It's just at the end of my driveway. It's right across the street from me, which is really nice. So we've got a nice location. So I really enjoy that. And it's such a beautiful day. The sky was so blue and clear that I'm just taking a picture as my backdrop. John, where are you at today?
I'm at home, and I have no idea where I took that picture at.
Oh, okay.
It was somewhere along our trip.
Well, it was a nice day, whatever it was.
Nice day, and I liked the looks of that structure, so I stopped and took a picture.
Cool. Yeah. Hey, Kurt, from I don't know where you guys are from. Here's from the UK, George. Nice to see you. Okay, guys, this is open forum. Again, we didn't have a guest this week. We didn't, I just kind of let it slide to the last minute, and here we are. We're just open forum Q&A. So we're looking for questions from you guys. I'd like to start out, though, with one thing. I do have an actual thing I wanted to talk about, John.
Okay.
So people have been asking about lumber prices, why they're so high. And I'd love people, yeah, okay, good advice. Drink lots of water. Yeah, I had zero effect after my first shot. Nothing, not even a sore arm. I've always been good with vaccines with that, so that's not been a big deal for me. Hopefully it'll be the same for the second shot. So people have been asking about lumber prices. I watched a YouTube video yesterday, got me thinking about it a little bit and doing just a tad bit of research. I have really no qualifications to talk about this whatsoever, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. So I figure, what the hell? One of this YouTube video I watched, he talked about the loggers, the people cutting the lumber and all that stuff. They're not making any more money. The retailers, they're not making any more money. So somewhere in between in the supply chain, someone's making a lot of money. So what is, who is that? Who's making all that money? So he talked about the 5 largest lumber manufacturers in the world, Weyerhaeuser being one of them that is publicly traded. 2 of them are privately owned, and 3 of them are publicly traded. So I just thought, I'll just do a little research real quick. So I logged into Weyerhaeuser. I typed in financial reports for Weyerhaeuser, and you can get to this page here where it gives you a complete summary of all of the financial reports for this big company. And it's kind of interesting. I haven't had much time to really look at it closely, but one of the things that I was looking at was the year-to-date 2020 versus 2019. And I find this kind of interesting when you look at the profit net earnings down here and you look at 2019 versus 2020.
Yeah, I can't
Jesus Christ. Why didn't you tell me that sooner?
Sorry.
See, I told you, mush brain.
Some qualifications if I let you show your screen. Otherwise,
yeah. Like I said, mush brain. All right, so back to where I was before a second ago. So I went on and I did a quick search I just typed in financial results for Weyerhaeuser. And you can get to this page where it has all of their financial reports going way back. Goes back quite a ways. Like I say, I haven't really dug into it that deep. And what I was doing, I was looking at this report right here, the financials for at the end of 2020, which will include some of 2019's information total. So what I did, so it brings you to this report right here. And I don't have any idea what all this stuff means, and this is kind of what he showed in the YouTube video. It's just like, okay, so here's your 2019. They had a loss at the end of 2019. And as of at the end of 2020, they turned that loss into a $750 million profit. So I haven't had a chance to go back and look at what their typical product profit is for a year. I don't think it's I kind of did, but I don't think it's anywhere near that much. So, and that's, he pointed that out on 3 of the publicly traded places, that their profits are up quite a bit in these large companies. So the stock prices are up almost 3-fold. So, so there's possibly part of the reason that lumber prices have gotten so high is because they can, because the supply and demand dictates that they can charge whatever they want now because they're pumping out this material, which is in such big demand. They can ask whatever they want for it. So is that accurate? Is that correct? Is that the right person to blame, right company to blame? I have zero idea. I'm just sharing a little bit of information that I found. So if anybody knows about any of this kind of stuff, yeah, I'd love to have a talk with you. Let's see, what do we got here? Robin says, New York Times said the cost of lumber is adding an average of $35,000 to a new home build. Yeah, it was only $20,000 about 2 weeks ago. 24,000, I think it was. Oh. So yeah, I'm building a new garage, but I haven't even looked at lumber prices. I haven't even gotten a bid yet on my lumber because I'm just going to wait. Because, a 1,000 square foot garage that I'm going to put up, I got to imagine it's going to be 10 grand more than it would have been last year at this time, would be my guess just for the lumber. I mean, when you're paying $50 for a sheet of OSB that was $9 15 months ago, ouch. Anyway, I thought I'd share that. I think that was kind of interesting. And I'd love you guys' feedback on that too, if you know anything about why the prices are up. The other thing I did was I Googled our lumber prices increased, attributable to, I just put Weyerhaeuser in, but you could probably find different places. And NHAB sounds like they're all over it. It looks like predictions are the prices are going to start falling by the end of the year. I hope. This is nuts. This is absolutely insane. And where's it going to lead? I don't know, but we need to pay attention. That's all I know, because this is just too off the wall weird. It's got to hit the fan. The SH blank T has got to hit the fan at some point, in my opinion. What do you think, John?
Yeah, I think a lot of things are happening, and you're right. It's going to have to stop. And a couple of people commented here. It's kind of the same thing happened in 1994 when the spotted owl thing was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And the supply, the raw material was cut down. I remember back in, I don't remember what year it was, but when China had the Olympics, about two or 3 years before that, steel prices spiked because China was taking all the steel, from what I understand, to build their Olympic village kind of thing, I
noticed in some of the reports I was reading, the annual reports, and again, I just briefly glanced at them. They're talking about their exports are up dramatically as well. So they're exporting a lot of lumber too, which of course is going to drive down a shortage here in the U.S. It's going to increase that shortage here. It's probably that way all over the world, I would guess. The shortages. I have no idea, but anyway. Cool.
So anyway, there was a couple of chief questions.
I see that. We have a question: experiencing a deluge of people offering estimating services. I don't know. Have you heard of that, John?
I haven't.
I have not either. So if you've got more information on that, that'd be interesting to hear about. I'm sure, like anything, there's going to be people that are really good at what they do and others that are not so good at what they do. So I would just check them out.
There are getting to be more software estimating programs out there that kind of make it, once you get everything all set up, it kind of makes it really easy to do it. So I imagine they're using software like that to.
Yeah. I mean, anybody can do a takeoff on a plan if you've got a good plan.
Right.
So that's half the battle. So you have good
some
plans.
Some of the new estimating software, you don't even need a good plan. You just need an accurate to scale plan. And you can pull the estimate right out of that if you get your software set up right.
Do the on-screen takeoff, yeah, absolutely. It's been a long time since I've done a material takeoff on a project. I used to do a lot of that. Robin says, I make a shower wall, no room definition, remove the molding from the shower, then I lose the molding in the bathroom too. How do I put the molding back in the bathroom? Robin, you're going to need to leave the shower with a room definition or do it a wall at a time. Okay, so what that means is, I'm going to show my screen, John.
Okay.
There we go.
You can take Robin's comment down. So
I'm going to take Robin's comment down too. I'll get the hang of this yet, by golly.
Help me out a little bit more today, Dan, because I know it was a week of mush. So.
Oh gosh, I was telling John yesterday I had a dentist appointment. Big feeling, no big deal. But then I was on a class for 5 hours, and I was trying to get some work done while I was doing the class. Do the multitask thing, but that didn't work so well. And then I just got nothing else done the rest of the day. I should have just taken the day off. Okay, so when you do I just use the chief wall that it actually has glass on the top of this wall. Let me go adjust the damn glass. Thought I had that adjusted actually. Texture, properties, make that general material, make it less transparent. So now we can see that there's actually glass there. All right, I guess got a little too much. But the key is when you're, so you want to take the molding off one of these walls, maybe that's going to be a curb and you don't want the molding there. Don't do it by the room. If you do it by the room and make that a no room definition wall, which is understandable, you don't want to have, you want the square footage of that shower to be in your bathroom. So you make it a no room definition wall, which now that'll make the whole room one big room. And then you want to take you can click on the wall, any wall at any time, and under the right here you'll have no room moldings, interior and exterior, just for that wall, not for the whole room. That way you can control one wall at a time. So that should help. Now on this wall, if you try to do that, you'll lose the molding on the whole wall. So you will have to either break the wall or turn the molding off in the room and add a molding polyline to that wall. And long as we're on the topic, I'll show it real quick. So you see how I've got room definition for the whole space now? Let me go ahead and just make these two walls no room definition as well. So we go no room definition. And I could turn the molding off on both of those walls. But if I go into the room and turn off, I still have the molding on that back wall back there. So if I go into the room and I turn the molding off on the whole room, that would be under the structure tab, under the, well, I'm really having a mind blank, under the, where am I, John? Moldings, here we go.
It is. Okay,
and we're going to delete that molding. So now I have no molding in the room whatsoever. And so what you could do is you click on the room and you click this little button down here to make a room molding polyline. That's this button right here. That'll create a CAD line. Nothing will be on the list, that's fine. And we'll leave it set to 0 because it's the base that we're dealing with. And when I click OK, you see you have a CAD box around the room that I can now reshape, and I can make that box just go against the walls that I want it on. I could break this, and now I could go ahead and add a molding to just that. So I could go moldings, add a new molding. I'll go to my baseboards, base molding. I'll just pick out something like that. Click OK. It's 5 inches tall. OK. All right, so there you go. Now, the other thing I don't want to have here, I don't want the molding to be on those 3 walls. So at any time on that molding line, you can click on this icon right here to add and remove the molding. So then I can turn the molding off just on that individual line.
Robin said, breaking the wall seems easy. Thank you.
Just showing you options, man.
I prefer to make the shower a room because the floor covering in a shower is usually different than the rest of the bathroom. So I prefer the room. Although
one way I deal with that, John, is to go, just pull these down, is to, you could use, come on. In my library, I have what I call a bathroom maker thing. And so when I want to put a different tile in there, so unlike you, I don't make the shower a room. I make it just a space.
Yep.
Although let's see what happens here. I guess I usually do this before I turn that off. So what I've done is I've just put a floor material region on there to fit that shower. I did the whole damn bathroom. Okay. So I should leave it a room. Is that what happened? Yeah, it did both. Oh, look at that. It did both rooms. I must have accidentally clicked over there. Yeah. Let me get to a better view. This is crazy. Cancel this. Let's bring up this one. All right. So what I just did, let me hit undo a couple of times here.
I'll be right back, Dan.
Okay, John. All right. So in my library, so what you could do at any time, let's say you have the 10 favorite materials that you like to use for your floors in a shower, okay? Or 2 different materials or whatever it is. So what you could do is go into a room molding polyline, a room material region, and you could draw that out, and you could put whatever material you want on that. You can put whatever material you want on that, and then you can add that to your library. Okay, so you could click this button right here, and you can add that to your library. So you could have a bunch of different tiles that you like to use. And then once you put that in your library, there is that material polyline, the floor material that I created. At any time, I could click on it and just click on the room that I want to put it in. And the Chief will put it there. And what Chief did is it put it in both rooms for me. So I'll just delete it in this room. And that's an easy way to add material to a space. And then you can reshape it, whatever shape you want, and change up the material at any time. So I could, again, so you can save a bunch of those into a single library and use them for your shower at any time. You could also do that with wall material regions. So you could put them on the wall as well. So there you go. That's one way to do it. Because you wouldn't be able to just click on this room and change the tile in the room because of these walls, there are no room definition. All right. So there you go. I hope that was helpful. John gets on me all the time. Yes, I do long explanations sometimes. Probably most of the time. That's just my way of doing it, John.
All right. So now you need to take that plan and answer Jeff's question.
Jeff, last week you showed how to make a dotted line as built and add it to a plan. Can you do it again and assume I'm a child? Jeffrey, you're not a child. I love that one. John tells me I'm always too detailed. Now Jeff wants me to be overly detailed. All right, so let's go do that. So go ahead. Again, if you're using my template, you could switch to the as-built plan, as-built measuring plan. And this puts all the dimensions on the surface. If you're not using my template, you could switch to the NKBA kitchen plan, but that'll do all your dimensions in inches, but it'll do it to surface. Or you could just reset your dimensions to surface. Anyway, Then you go ahead and draw your plan. So just put all your walls, doors, windows, everything in your plan that you need to have in your plan. So I'll throw some doors in, put a couple of windows in, put a couple of cabinets in, and there's your as-built. Okay, do your dimensions. Again, if you've switched out to this one, you'll see that when you add your dimensions, they go to surface, not sheetrock like the other one does. All right, and they'll be on a different layer too. And the text, the only thing difference between this one and these other ones is the dimensions to surface, and the text is on a different layer for as-builts, and the notes are on a different layer for as-builts, and the dimensions are on a different layer for as-builts. Other than that, they're pretty much all the same exact settings for all of those. So, but when I'm doing as-builts, I want to go to surface. All right, so they'll throw in a few cabinets, and when you do that, there's a couple settings you have to do. All right, so there's my as-built, done. Okay, and actually, I'll do one more thing. I'll put this built. All right, so I'm in that layer set, typing that. See how it's that. So the next step, you save this, of course. Now you're ready to start working on the new plan. Before you do that, do this step. Now, again, if you're using my template, you're going to switch to the as-built plan to create dotted lines. All right, as-built plan to create dotted lines, and you'll see how it simplifies everything dramatically. All right, so it really turns off all of the fluff. It turns all of the molding off, turns the wall layers off. Just nice, simple plan.
Dan, is that you with the background noise?
Oh, that could be. Yeah, my wife just walked in. She probably didn't realize I was in the show here. And I still have Jeff's comment. He didn't tell me to turn that off. So there's my plan. It's nice, simple dotted line, or nice, simple plan. So when I create dotted lines out of this, it'll be nice and simple. You'll notice all the dimensions went off, the text, everything went off. The one thing I'm going to do before I do the dotted lines is I'm going to click on the cabinet. So I'm going to group select the cabinets, and I'm going to take the fill style out. Fill style is gone because I just want to use no pattern, because I just want that to be dotted lines without a fill. All right, so there we go. So now your plan is ready to become dotted lines. So you're going to click on this button right here. You're going to make a CAD detail out of this view, and Chief's going to take that CAD detail and put it in this area here, which is your CAD detail management. That's where you can add your schedules and details and notes and pictures, and they're not going to be all over your screen. In separate little drawing windows. Okay, so I'm going to click that. The screen flashes. You get a new little tab up here. It says Untitled 2D, Untitled Detail 1, because I haven't named my plan yet. And you see this little icon here looks like this. All right, so that's telling me that this is a CAD detail because of the icon that's in front of that tab. All right, so you look at here, you know that's a plan view. All right, so pay attention to those little icons there. All right, so I'm going to click on CAD detail management. Here's that detail. Here's that tab right there. I'm going to hit the rename button, and I'm going to call this my as-built. And if it's a multi-level plan, what I would do is put main level or first level or whatever. That way, when I come back into my CAD detail window and I've got a bunch of things listed here, I automatically know what that one is. All right, so now it's a bunch of CAD lines. So now I would go through and finish cleaning it up. Maybe I don't want this countertop lines. I just want the boxes, the lines for the boxes. All right, next thing you do is you highlight everything. This is the part that most people miss. Okay, so you highlight all of those lines, open the dialog, and you're going to make sure these 3 boxes are checked in by layer by layer by layer for weight, style, and color. And you're going to change this to a different line style, which again, in my template, I have set up as CAD, as-built, dotted lines. And you could just make this layer in your template if you want to. CAD, as-built, dotted lines. Make sure those are checked in. Make sure this item here is set to back. Because when you put these dotted lines back into your plan, you want them to be behind everything else. And then click OK. There we go. So now we got a bunch of dotted lines. That's looking good. Again, I could finish deleting things if I wanted to. And then I'm going to just simply copy all of this. And again, these dotted lines will always stay with the plan because it's going to be in a CAD detail window. Now I just go back to my plan. You're going to hit edit, paste, and hold position. You want it to be put in the same exact spot, and this will do it. And then when you click, it'll kind of like, it'll seem like nothing happened. But now as you start moving the walls and the doors and the windows, so let me switch back to my working drawing plan. Now I can start seeing where everything has been put. Okay. So that's where everything used to be. If you have your electrical in there too, you can see that at any time. So that works really well. I've been using that method for years and years, and it's just phenomenal. It works really, really well. There's a layer set in here called as built versus new. You could also call that the demo plan, and that's going to look like that as well. So it's not much different than any of these other ones, but in here I could turn the dotted lines off and not have them in my plan until I need them, until I need them to be on for the. All right, so now they're off. So I want to see the as-built. Now I just switch here, as-built, not that one, as-built versus new, and there's your demo plan. So you could add notes. You could add notes here that would be part of the demo plan. And yeah, I can spell usually. And then when I switch back to my working plan, oh, those notes should be turned off. Oh, I got an error there, John. Found something to fix. I haven't caught that one.
It's on the, is that on the wrong layer? Looks like it.
It is on the wrong layer. So, okay, I'll check that. So actually, let me add that to my sheet right away.
Did you talk about doing a save as before you start moving walls around?
Did not, but that's a really good thing to bring up. Thank you. Yeah, before you start. So once you get the dotted lines in your plan, now you're ready to, now you want to save the plan. And let's see, I should have a text for, that's actually the text. Huh. That should be for my demo plan. I'll have to look at that. Before you start making changes, save it and then make a copy of the plan so that you can got your as-built to go back to. But your dotted lines will always be part of that.
Another thing, when you're doing a save as, hit save first, because what that'll do is hit save first and then do a save as. Because if you do the save first, you won't get that error when you go to open that plan, or that it's not an error, but a warning. When you open up that plan again that you did save as from, you get that thing that the warning that says you've changed this plan, or there's a new, I forget how it says it.
You talking about the plan view?
No, when you if you were to close this, if you're to do a save as of this right now.
All right, let me save it first.
Make a change first. Make a change before you do it.
You could change. Okay, I'll move this way.
And then do a save as, without doing save first.
Do a save as?
Do a save as.
Yeah. Well, I haven't even saved it yet, John.
Well, why not?
Because I just opened a new plan and started drawing.
Okay.
So let me save it first, like it's my as built. Okay, so I'll just name it as built. Oh, hang on a second here.
And yes, Joe, the sessions are available to view later.
All right, so there's that. So okay, so now I've saved the plan. All right, so now let me move the wall.
I'll make a change.
Okay, so I've got the dotted lines are in there. Okay.
Right.
Right. There they are. Okay.
I'll do a save as.
Okay. Now I'll do save as, and I'll call this, my, new plan, or, version 1, or whatever you want to call it. Okay. So there we go.
And then go back to file and open the original one. No, it didn't bring it up. But anyway, it's that notice that says you've got a newer version of this plan since it was saved.
Probably because I didn't exit Chief and come back into it. It's still, this is still in memory.
Yeah, and it was still open too.
Yeah. So it's, oh, I did close it. Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I do.
Can you explain it better?
So what I had just done, what John was getting at was I had saved the plan and then I made a few changes to it. Then I did a save as. All right. So what I hadn't done was saved the changes that I made before I did the save as. So Chief recognized that I made some changes to it, but it still closed it because it didn't ask me if I want to save it, just closed it and made a quick copy of it.
Right.
And then when I open it back up, you'll get a message that says it found it, it found a newer version than what you had saved.
Right.
And that's the changes between when I saved it last and when I did the save as that Chief's bringing up. So
whenever that happens, I always think to myself, man, I don't know. Do I want to do the one that's newer or the one that's older? So if I hit save first and then do the save as, I don't have that issue.
Yes. So just save it first.
Yes.
Yeah. Lumber prices are up only 250%, but it's better lumber now, by golly. Boards have smaller knots now. We have to laugh about it because otherwise we'll all start crying. This happened in near highs in 94 when 2 of the 4 shut down for spotted owl. Yeah. There's all those little things that can cause that. Anyway, I was looking at these before I finished this. Jeff, I hope that answered your question. The key is when you create the dotted lines to just have the plan as simple as possible before you convert it. So create a layer. In the past, I used to always create a layer set every time. I would take my 1/4 inch plan and I would make a new layer set. And then I would go shut off a bunch of stuff and then I would do my thing. Then I'd open another plan and do the same thing. And I'd open, I finally added it to my template. And now it's just, draw your plan, create your as-built, create your dotted lines, go work on your plan. Done. So it takes literally, I can do this in 30 seconds when I have my as-built done. And it's just invaluable to have that information as part of your plan. So it really does make a big difference. The other thing you can do, say you're only making a small change in your plan. You don't really need a whole plan to be dotted lines. So what I would do there. So let's just say, for example, I've got a door here that I'm removing from that wall. I'm going to close that up. Okay. So what I would do for that, rather than do that whole as-built thing, well, there's actually 2 ways to do it. One, I would just take this wall and I would copy it, paste and place in a new plan, make that dotted, convert it to CAD, make it line, paste it back in this plan. That's one way to do it. Another way to do it is just switch your current CAD layer. This is the current CAD layer. Whatever you have set here, when you use the CAD tools, that's what you'll be drawing in your plan. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to click that and make that as-built dotted lines, or I actually have another one here. I have 2 set up in my template. One is kind of like for drawing by hand. The other is to do the dotted lines. Either of them will work. It doesn't really matter. It's just a matter what layers you have on. So I'll do that, and then with that as my current layer, and I draw some items now, you'll see that there'll be dotted lines. So now I would just kind of go I would trace over this door like this, and I would just put some dotted lines here and maybe put a dotted line box there, and then draw a single line like this from here to here, convert that to an arc. And now I'm done drawing that the door is being removed. Okay, I would do it a lot more careful than that, but you get the idea. So that's how I would do that. And that works really well too. So if it's just a small change, don't do that dotted line thing to everything. Just do it to that one item. So that's the trick that's what this button is for. Set the current CAD layer for the things you're about to draw.
So does that change your save plan view? Does it save your layer?
It will. Yeah. If I try to switch to another plan view, is it gonna? No, because I'll still be on that layer. So no, that won't. I'll still be drawing those same dotted lines, or not. No, I won't. Oh no, because that's set up to. Shouldn't that have asked me that?
It did ask me. That's why I asked the question.
Oh, you know why it didn't ask me? Because I have all my plan views to not set up to not ask me. So when I go in here and I go to plan views, and I think I can group select and edit those, edit all views. I can go in. This is what I did in my template. And here I went and I said, never save. Okay. Which is going to force you because it won't. So there it's not asking me to save my plan views. Okay. So if I make changes like that and I go to a different plan view, no problem. It just reverts back to the way it used to be. So you have to, and that's what most people, most of the time, don't want to save those kind of changes, in my opinion. All right. So when I make a change to a plan view, like I just did, that was a great question, by the way. If you're using one of Chief's templates, or John, yours is probably set up, maybe you're using a little bit older template than this one I have open, where I hadn't done that yet, because I was getting real annoyed with that.
Right.
So I just went and shut it off. I found that setting and I said, oh, great, I'm going to shut that off. So now when people make changes like that, it's not going to update their plan view if they hit yes. So now you have to know that you want to make a change. So if I always want this to be set up for this plan view, I have to click this before I move forward. Which one is it? It's the save this one. Yeah. So I'd have to click this. Now that change I just made here will stay as part of this plan view.
So show me where that button is again, because it annoys me all.
Highlight your all your plan views.
Okay.
And right click on it and hit edit all views. And there will be certain things you can edit, and under general, it's the prompt to save right here.
Excellent.
That you can turn off. Yeah.
That's worth the show right there.
All right. You can leave.
Okay.
But don't. Need someone to keep me on task here. All right. So there we go. Let's go back to our things here. Was that child enough for you, Jeff? I hope. I don't know. Bill, let's see. Bill Murray says, client told me yesterday the lumber pack went from 60,000 what to 100 what?
Something's off there, it seems like.
Whew. That's wow. That's a big jump. That's where I say this is, this is giving me like cause for concern, because at some point it's going to hit the fan and people are going to say, no, I'm not going to do it. Just kind of like I'm doing with my garage project right now. It's like, I'm not going to do it till the prices come down again. I'm not going to put an extra 10 grand in my garage just because I want it now.
At least until they get stable and you realize they're not going to come down.
Well, yeah, but I think they will come back down.
Yeah,
it can't stay like this forever. That's my totally unqualified, non-educated, 2-cent guess.
I'm actually more afraid of interest rates going up than I am lumber prices. Yeah. We have clients that have encountered considerable overall cost increase the last couple of months since they closed construction loans, meaning they are on the hook for those extra costs. Yeah. Granted, lumber money is cheap right now, but ain't that cheap. You still got to pay it back. So if you're adding, 50, 60, 100,000 to a cost of a house, wow. Dennis James, yeah, Bill, we use him too. So Dennis, he was asking about Lone Star Estimating out of Minnesota. It's going great guns. And Dennis James is saying, yep. So I assume you guys like him because you're bringing the name up here.
Let's see. He replaced my front fence 110 feet for 8,000 in materials. Mike, what would that have cost you a year and a half ago? It would have been a couple grand, 3 grand, 4 grand. Time to start building a hurricane-proof brick. There you go. Oops, all caps. Doing CAD work and yeah. You don't have to yell at us, Mike. Switch to steel studs. And yeah, I've had some clients do that too. I've had clients switch to ICF because of the price of lumber. I've had clients, and John, you mentioned SIP panels.
Yeah.
A good alternative for people to switch to. So, but they use OSB in their material. So
SIP panels with steel studs on for interior also work great.
Yeah. Other questions for Chief?
There was a couple of. Bill had a question up higher.
2x8 clear, $40 each. Wow. What do we got up that?
Yeah, it has a double tray ceiling. One more up. One up one more.
I want a double tray. 16 wide and 4 inches deep on a 10-foot ceiling. Okay. Yeah, what you have to do there. I haven't done a tray for a while, but let's go ahead and do it. Oops. So if I go into the room, I'm going to click this icon down here for the tray ceiling, and that'll put our first tray in. So we could go, you said you want 16 inches wide by 4 inches deep. You want to go that into the ceiling. It's going to be vertical, straight up and down. And we'll click OK. So there's the first tray. And now you want to add a second one. Okay, so we go there and there's your tray. Oops, what happened here? Do that again. Stretch my camera way too far. There you go. So there's the first tray. Now I could click on the room again and hit another tray, but I think what I have to do is click on the actual tray that's there and then click the add another tray. You'll see how that icon looks a little bit different now. It's got extra lines on it. So now I can add a tray inside of that tray. Now I can go the same thing, 4-inch vertical, hit OK, and there's your double tray. Bam. A new person did the programming for that at Chief Architect. What a phenomenal job they did on that. Isn't that something? Of course, I didn't take his message off of there. Yeah, Chief's got some really great people working on this.
That was great when they came up with that, when they changed that, because it was hard to get it before.
That saves so much time.
Yeah.
Is it possible to get Chief to auto-create a boxed eave at a corner where 2 gable walls meet? I cannot get a boxed eave to show under that condition. Yeah, I kind of think I know what you're talking about. So you have, so if I, see how I can do this. So if, I'm trying to think how I can get a valid.
Let it draw a roof and then make the left wall and the bottom wall a gable wall.
Okay, yeah, here we go. I'll just convert that right now to gable wall and I'll build the roof.
The comment.
Thank you. Then I'll go into build a roof. There we go. So there's your, that's what you're referring to, I assume. Where you're trying to get that to box in under there on each side. All right, so understand how a box is generated. It's generated from a, it's generated from the baseline. Okay. Chief has got 2 baselines right here, right there and there. The trouble is, it needs a little bit of an edge to generate it off of. So let's just try this. I don't know if this will work, by the way, but we'll try it. So if I create a little bit of a fascia there and a little bit of a fascia here, okay. Now Chief has something to build an overhang off of. And did it work? Let's see. Yeah, there you go. I think that's.
How about if you pulled the baseline back? onto
No,
the
it doesn't. It's not the baseline. The baseline has to be exposed here a little bit.
the fascia has to be
The
exposed.
fascia has to be just a little bit. I could probably go down to, let's go down to a like a quarter of an inch and see if it still works. Let's go down to 0.25. This one to 0.25. See if it's still doing it. Nope, it stopped doing it there. In fact, it messed it up pretty good. Did I go too far? No. So it looks like we've got to be at least, let's take it up to 0.75, quarter. So it's got to be just a little bit. There we go. So 3/4 works. You might, maybe half might work. Anyway, hopefully that'll work for you. Other than that, you're going to have to model it with slabs to get it to work. That's the only way I know to get those to work.
We got two more questions there.
Okay. 2x4. Den's glass sheathing instead of OSB. What's Den's glass? I've not heard of that. Dessen glass. How can you set an amount by which a door is recessed into a wall? If I'm following that question right, you want the sheetrock to wrap around into the jamb. Is that what I'm gathering from that?
Either that or how far in the, like if you want the brick mold to go inside the wall a little bit.
Well, the brick mold on the exterior like this is only going to go as far as the stud. I think under the wall itself, under options, you can recess that to the main layer, which would be the framing, or to the sheathing. Okay. So if I go to main layer, my casing is now going to be back to the framing, not the sheathing. Okay. And on the inside, if we want the sheetrock to wrap around into the frame, we have to, well, we can adjust under the frame, under the jamb. We can adjust the jamb size. So first thing we'd have to do is turn the casing off. And then we would go to the jamb. I don't think we can change, I don't think we can change the position of the door in the frame.
Yeah, I think you can.
Can you? Where is that setting? Is that under?
I was doing that once with.
Is that under jamb? You'd think it'd be under jamb. Side width, top width, inset. There it is. So yeah, so there you could change the location of the door in the frame. So you know, if you had a door that was here and you want to inset it in more, you just set the number here and how far you want it to be. That would be a way to do it. But if I want the sheetrock to wrap into the jamb, I'm just going to make this jamb smaller. I'll make the jamb 3 inches. And I wonder if, does that inset the door or inset the jamb? I might inset the jamb.
Insets the.
So there's my door. Let's see if we look at this side, the jamb. Okay, so let's see if we can slide the door over a little bit by changing this number here to, I'll just go 2 and see what it did. Did it change? Oh yeah, see, it moved the jamb from the door. So now the jamb is over here and the door is back here. It didn't move the door. The door's still against that wall. So it did move the jamb there. I can move the jamb in the wall, but I can't move the door in the wall. If I were going to do that and I needed a big wraparound on both sides, which probably wouldn't be the best deal, I'd probably have to do a furred wall and put it in the furred wall. You know, where you have 2 walls coming together. Den's glass is a waterproof gypsum. Oh yeah, okay. They use that on the exterior buildings quite a bit, don't they? I've seen that a lot on commercial. Weatherproof drywall, yeah. I got to imagine they're busy. That seems to me that would be a really good. How did I ever find that workaround? I assume you're talking about the gable. Back in the day, Chief used to struggle doing those returns. And one day it just dawned, sometimes I would have things like that happen. One day it dawned on me, I just put a little edge there and it worked. So
I have a question up above that too about
what's there?
Framing. One more, down one.
Down one. When I choose frame roof, it frames rafters when I have chosen trusses. What am I doing wrong? You have to put trusses in first before you frame your roof. So if I wanted part of this to be trusses and part of this to be framed, I would go in and I would add my roof trusses here. So let's say I'm going to add this here. Of course, I'm not my framing layer. That's fine. So let's go add some roof trusses here. If I could select them.
So trusses always have to be done manually, whether they're a floor truss or a roof truss.
Any kind of a roof truss has to be put in manually. Chief does not have any automatic function for trusses. So you're going to add those into your plan. And then of course here where, I want to do a hip kit, whatever you call that, I would just go like this and like, I don't need it over there. And then I would just continue making a copy of this through. I double up the truss for wherever I need the girder truss, double, triple, whatever you need to have. Sometimes you get that goofy message and you have to just draw these in manually. I mean, again, the trusses are not actual structural trusses. They're just trusses. And I think I just did this all wrong. In fact, yeah, I know I did it wrong, didn't I? This is a hip. Yeah, that's a hip. That's not a gable. So it should go this, shouldn't it? I should know I do this all the time. Make copies of this, like that. So anyway, wherever you get your trusses, so there's what I just drew in there. Wherever you get, those will fit the shape of the roof and the ceiling. So wherever you put those, then go back and someday I'm going to figure out. Someday you'll be able to have control of these damn comments, John. So you can turn them off. So now, once the trusses are in, now you go do the manual framing, and you can do it one roof plate at a time, or you can do the whole plan at once. And Chief will not put framing where there are trusses. It'll put the bracing in. It'll put the fascia backer in. It'll put the lookouts in, but it won't do that. So that's how you do that. Okay, put your trusses in first. What do we got next, John? George, I hope that answered your question about the door. So even if you've chosen the roof itself to be trusses, what that kind of does is it'll set how the heel draws, how the truss heel draws in the plan, not the truss itself. All right, where are we at? I think the glass refers to fiberglass. Okay. It has shear wall strength as well. Nice. Like I said,
a lot of commercial buildings use it.
Yeah, that's where I've seen it all the time. I gotta believe that their business is booming. Is there a way to lock individual framing members, rafters, trusses, deck beams so that they remain in place when I choose rebuild framing? Not had any luck with that. Let's see. When you're rebuilding framing, like the roof framing here, the best you could probably do. Well, let's talk about walls first. Okay, so when you do a wall framing, when you frame a wall and you open it and you make some changes to it. Okay, so you want to make this header bigger, so you stretch it up and make changes to it, and then you change other things in that wall. But if I hit auto rebuild, I'll lose all those changes. What you can do in Chief in the wall for the walls is you can click on the wall, and under the structure tab, you can say retain the wall framing. So this will turn it off from the wall rebuilding tools. So when I do that for that wall that I just did, now when I click on it, you notice I don't get a framing icon down here, gone. So I can't possibly reframe it. Even when I do automatic framing for the whole house, you can't change the wall framing unless you uncheck that button in the other place. Floor framing, you know, so when you do rooms, there's no way to stop that. So the automatic framing's there to get you started. Once you edit the framing and rebuild it, you'll lose all those changes. That's just the way it works. The roof framing is the same way. There's no way to lock out a roof that I'm aware of. So if I go frame a roof here and I open its dialog, I don't think there's any setting here that, unless I missed it, that will tell it not to reframe that roof. Yeah, I've never seen a button like that. Structure, let's see if it's under their build. Oh, it does have it. Okay, so roof planes do have that now. Retain roof framing. So if you click that and you rebuild roof framing for the other parts of the house, that will stay. Now the question is, let's try something here. Let's just make a bunch of copies of a rafter. And so let's make those every 3 inches. Put a bunch of them in there. Okay, so I just created a bunch of rafters because I want to try something. So I'm going to delete a bunch of rafters here. And now I decide, okay, I need to reframe that roof panel. I need to reframe the rest of my plan. But let's go ahead and open this and set retain the roof framing. Of course, now I lose the manual button to reframe that. That's gone. But if I go rebuild roofs, so what I'm curious is when I rebuild all of the roof framing, will it put anything back in that empty space? Or it probably won't change what I've done there. But I want to just try this, build roof framing. Click OK. Nothing. So it totally ignored that roof plane. So it won't rebuild the framing in that.
Did that set it just for that plane, or did it set it for the whole roof?
Just for that plane. Okay. So if I go back here and let's go here and I'll delete a bunch of framing and okay, so I'll delete all that stuff. Did it double up on these? Oh, I'm hitting the wrong button. So now if I go rebuild roof framing, again, double clicking on the icon here, build roof framing, click OK. So it redid the framing there, but again, did nothing to that one. So you can set those on a roof by roof basis. Rooms, I don't believe, let's look there. Maybe we've got a button there too. I'll be damned. Okay, Chief is way ahead of me. Usually when I stop auto building, I'm never going to go back and use it again. Because when I manually start framing something, I'm not going to go auto build it again. I didn't know these were there, so maybe I'll rethink that a little bit. I don't know, but it's nice to know. So you could do it for rooms too. So I've always just used the framing to get started. Go ahead.
But you can't do it for walls.
Retain the framing?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's under the structure tab. Okay. Retain wall framing. They're all under the structure tab for walls, floors, and rooms and roofs.
Must have been sleeping when you said that.
You dozed off a little bit, yeah. Yeah. The decks, when you frame a deck, and let me name that a deck. I used the wrong railing on it. So the room name deck. It's going to put framing in there. Oh, sure, I'll turn that deck framing on. That is in the room name, and what you would do there is under structure. Let's see, where was that again? Retain. Well, there's the retain floor ceiling framing for a deck too. With decks, if I go change the framing here, let's just try it real quick. So, oh, what did that message say? Okay, so when I move some of the existing deck framing, go do that again. Let me just do it with the deck rails. Okay. Railings. Okay, so now when I go move the framing here, this will, okay, this current operation modifies the deck framing. With the auto deck framing turned on, framing can be regenerated at any time. Would you like to turn the automatic deck framing off? If I go yes, now my deck framing will always stay like that until I hit this button again. When I hit this button, that's going to reframe the deck, and it's going to put that beam back in place here where it was. Okay, because that was an original piece of deck framing, and put it back over there. All right, so that part's going to automatically happen even if you change some of the deck framing. What you can do, where is that setting, John? That says if you remove the deck framing, if you remove the name deck, you'll keep the framing. That's under deck. Here it is. So when you click this, keep the deck framing after the deck room is deleted. In other words, if I get rid of a railing or something like that, the deck framing will stay there. Okay, so that's one way you could do it. And the changes I've made will stay there. Okay, I can't reframe the deck framing automatically. And none of the things that you just check, you cannot frame automatically. That makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I hope that answered your question, Mike. I move the deck beam to the outer edge of the deck and I lose that location and it regens back to the cantilever location, for example. You might have the automatic deck framing turned on. So under the room name deck,
I'm just curious, Dan, if you took that beam along with all of its posts and footings and moved them all at one time
to a different location,
and then move the beam up so it's flush, will it change the length of the posts?
No, let's find out. I mean, the posts are generated based on where your terrain is in the plan.
Right, the bottom, but will the top raise to stick with the beam? I want to put the beam up flush with the deck framing.
So I hit auto framing and that framing just went away. Again, once I start modifying the deck framing, I'm not going to hit that button again. In fact, you might want to turn it off. So again, I don't have posts here because I don't have a foundation. Let me put a foundation in. By the way, when you put a foundation in for a deck, the framing will then end up in the lower level, on the lower level. So I'm going to have to go regen the deck framing here. Now the framing ends up down here. You know, your question, John, was what?
I want to move the posts and the beam and the footings all at one time.
Up into the deck.
I want to move the beam up into the deck, but I want to move it all out to the face of the deck too.
Oh, and then I got to do that from the floor plan.
Yeah.
So yeah, so you could group select everything here. It's going to be a little tough to do because of the way things select in Chief. So you're going to have to do it carefully, one at a time. Okay, now I can select the beam. Okay, so I've group selected everything. Mm-hmm. You want that beam out to be in the face?
Yeah, out to the face and then up so it's flush with the...
So now I could go like this and go like this, and then I would open the dialog for that. Does it give me a height in this? It does not.
To get the beam by itself.
So what I would have to do, if I want to just move everything up, I could go transform replicate and then move it in Z up at once to, you know, if it's, I think so I go up 7 1/4 because I think that's what the size of the joists were specified. I don't remember exactly, but that should do it. And then I could delete this and the beam should be at the top now. There it is.
Post went up with it.
Everything went with it. So yeah, so you could just move it in Z. You're just moving 3D CAD boxes. That's all you're doing.
Yep. I just wasn't sure if the post would regenerate and stick with the beam.
If I hit
but you moved it up all at once. If you would have moved up the beam by itself, it might not have done that.
Right. So now I need to shorten these V's to hook to the beam. So what I would generally do, I mean, you could try clicking on the beam and then doing a trim and then get your fence over just real close like that. See if this works. Yeah, it worked fine. sometimes what I'll do if I'm having trouble because I got too much stuff going on, I'm having trouble getting my trim tool to select something, I'll just draw a line. I'll just trim these back temporarily. I'll hit the trim tool. I'll cut them all off. Just delete the line. Now I'll hit the beam, extend them out to the beam again. So I'll just do that little trick right there, and that works pretty well. And of course, these all have to go like that.
Darren's saying probably a different way to do what you just did. You have to put the deck framing on a separate layer and lock so that auto reframe doesn't wipe it out.
That work? Let's try it. So if I, so let's go ahead and we'll just put all this stuff on a different layer. And let's go define. We'll just call it a new frame locked layer. And we'll go ahead and lock it. Done. So that's locked now. So now let's say I go up and I rebuild my deck framing. Will it get rid of the changes I just made? Let's find out. So when I go back down here, and let's go turn on that layer. So if I go back to that layer I had shut off, the deck framing layer, which normally I would put framing/deck. All right, where'd it go? What did I call it?
I don't know. It's locked.
Oh yeah.
According to locked. And
go to my locked deck framing locked. Okay, so if I go unlock it, oh, it's still displaying. So it wiped out that locked framing and put new framing in its place. So if you were getting it to not do that after you've locked it, that'd be interesting to know why it's different. I'm not sure why it would be. I could probably.
I'm going to give Chad your question. Can you clarify what you want to set as a default? Is it the deck where the beam goes, or is it having the auto regenerate framing locked or turned off? Can you clarify that? Anyway, you were going to do something else, Dan.
Not really. Oh shit, we're over time already, John.
We are.
Holy cow! God, just get warmed up. Hey guys, thanks for joining us today. I had no idea we were at 107 already. And John, you're funny. You're just commenting before, Dan, about me. Just not give those detailed explanations like I tend to do.
You did pretty.
What was it? Oh, you said you're going to have me draw a house plan, and I couldn't talk.
Yeah.
I'd probably get it done 10 times as fast. Yeah.
Chad, the beam and post location, you cannot set that as there's some things you can set as a default, but you can't set it as a flush beam.
No, I don't think so. If we go into your deck, let's see, that would be under, which one is where our deck defaults at?
Room types.
We can set that's going to be under deck room types. You're right. Thank you.
Yeah. Up.
Room type. Thank you. So if we go to the deck room type and edit that setting, we can set the room name. We can set the thickness of the deck structure. And under deck support, we can have beams, spacing, deck posts, height above terrain, thickness, width. But there's no place to set, where the beam is. Is it a flush beam? Is it hanging below the joist? It's automatically hanging below the joist. So again, like many of the automatic functions in Chief, the auto functions there to get you started, and then you have to manually change from there.
Yeah.
We got another cool setting. Lumberyard materials list from 4/12/20, 140K. Then again on 10/10/20, starting at 175. Increase at that time 30,000 on a 3,100 square foot 2-story house with crawl space. Currently working on current numbers. Janet, that's great information. Send me that, would you? I'd love to hear what you come up with on those numbers. Isn't that incredible? That's not even that's 6 months. Wow. That's sick. Someone's making a few bucks there because, the profits aren't going to the lumberyards. They're not going to maybe they're going some to the lumberyards, but I can't imagine. because it's such a commodity. So it's controlled by who controls those prices. Once we figure that out, by golly, we can get to the bottom of that. And it won't make any difference anyway, because we'll have to pay whatever they say we have to pay. Unless we come to John's house and we start chopping down trees and we'll mill our own damn lumber.
I've actually thought that's not a bad idea.
You can make a lot of money right now.
About 12 years ago, my dad wanted to, no, it was longer than that, probably 14 years ago, my dad wanted to buy one of those wood misers, and I talked him out of it. Now I'm kicking myself.
Oh, I know. Is there a super chat? Yeah, thank you. One little thing I'll mention, at Lewiston, a semi of 5/8 OSB, $52 a sheet. I like the little, what do you call those little cartoons or whatever they call them out there, where the guy has a stack of OSB and he'll trade it for a Porsche. He knows the value of what he's got. Yeah. That's kind of cute. But yeah, that is amazing. We are going to, I'm making some changes here. Okay. I'll just, because I know we're over, but I'll go ahead and talk about it anyway. What we're going to do is we're going to go every other week with the designer show now, instead of every week. And then what we're going to do, though, so the designer show, we'll keep kind of the same format. We'll have a guest on maybe once a month, and then the other show so we're going to go first and third Fridays of the month. We'll do the designer show, and we'll probably have a guest on one of those, and we'll do this kind of thing, or plan review the other one. And then the other 2 weeks of the month, the second and fourth Friday of each month, we're going to go into the ProAcademy. That's the paid members area, chief experts that you can get into. And so if you go over to there, oops, if I spell that right. What I want to do is get back into the ProAcademy. I've been neglecting this for a while, and I apologize to the members that are already in there. So if you scroll down here, the ProAcademy.
Can't see your screen.
Thank you, John. I'd be lost without you. So under the ProAcademy, I used to do a monthly webinar that we post here. So what we're going to do is once a month, we'll do a webinar with a specific topic. So we'll cover something in great detail. And the other time we'll do a kind of like an office hour, it'll be a Q&A, kind of like we're doing today. So we used to do a bunch of that format back in the day. And then those videos will be available for ProAcademy members. Okay, so that's one way we'll be adding content. I will be adding a bunch of other short topic content to this site. I've got some other things we'll be adding. The X13 templates will be added to the ProAcademy. Bottom line, I'm going to raise the price of the ProAcademy at some point. But if you're already a current member, your price will always stay the same. So that will never change. So if I do raise the price, those of you that are already members, don't worry about it. Your prices will be the same. And I appreciate you guys being part of the ProAcademy. Really do. And so we'll be getting back into this. And, I still owe the people a metric template. It's just called, I've totally overestimated my
time resources.
There's a really good term I had, just my energy, the amount of energy I could put into all this stuff. Totally overestimated. Kind of like a remodel, overestimating how much time it'll take to do a job. Remember, I used to be a remodeler. So I still got that. It's crazy. See there again, Robin, the price is not going to the lumber people.
Yeah. Chad's got the right idea.
Think about selling my house for parts. I love it. Yeah, you could probably do well. I got an old falling down garage. I could probably make a lot of money on the old lumber right now. Oh boy, maybe I'll just reuse it.
Or if nothing else, get somebody to come tear it down for free, for sure.
Yeah. Anyway. Hey guys, thanks for being here today. Appreciate it. John, we'll catch you next time. So 2 weeks from now, we'll be back in the designer show. I'll get an email out to everybody, let you guys know what's going on, and we'll kind of go from there. Thanks for being here. You guys have a great week, and we'll catch you next time on the designer show. Bye, everyone.